Afrika Bambaataa is an American disc jockey from the South Bronx, New York. Been around since before, actually. Big names like Def Jam, LL Cool J with his first album, Bigger and Deffer. And he's in the studio with us. I'm a hip hop head, and you know, to a fault, a lot of guys who loved hip hop from back then do not appreciate that much now. And that's with the understanding that life goes on, things change, there's evolution, music changes, trends change, names change as well. Who would have thought that a guy from Canada would be winning so many awards in that genre? How has it been for you watching this genre through the rearview mirror?
Well, it's definitely been positive and checking out the different vibrations throughout the different eras of time, seeing how culture has jumped from many different shifts. Dealing with most people, when they say hip hop, they don't understand what hip hop is. When you say hip hop, most think of just a rapper.
Yeah.
But it deals with the whole culture movement of everybody, with the B-boys, the B-girls, the DJs, the MCs, the aerosol writers, and that fifth element that holds it all together, knowledge.
Yeah.
And this is what makes our culture so vibrant and moving from place to place, country to country, and all over, different cities of the world. And many of the young adults or youth has picked up on it. It has drew the music of rap music, has made other people that speak different language learn how to speak even English. And many places where I went, I used to tell them, you could rap in the American style, but also speak from your own language and your own culture and your own movement. And some people felt they couldn't do it at first, but now we got hip-hop stars from many international countries throughout this great planet.
Indeed. There's a lot of ambassadors now for this music genre. Back then, when you started the Universal Zulu Nation, did you have any idea how big the movement was going to be?
Not at first, but I knew that through my works and effort and many of my sisters and brothers and sisters of pushing it and going from town to town, city to city, country to country, that it would definitely catch on, especially with our ideology that we incorporated into the Universal Zulu Nation.
The Zulu Nation, as a matter of fact, in this country is celebrating 200 years since King Shaka brought it together. What kind of conversation have you had in linking with that element of the name of the movement?
Oh, so it's a powerful element. Taking the name of Bambaataa, born 1865, they claimed they died 1906, but many didn't even know because they never really caught our brother.
Yep.
In the uprising. Many say the rebellion, and to see the history of the Zulu and of the kings and queens, and see how powerful it was, that what King Shaka was trying to do was unite the clans together to organize the sisters and brothers where they could become a nation. And some say if King Shaka would have kept going, he might have united all of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was powerful just to learn the history. And some say the Zulu Nation 200 years, but, I'm a Zulu, say we the people of the heavens, so it goes to ancient days of time.
Indeed.
And all the way straight up to Mars.
Bronx, New York, United States, let's talk about the mid-70s. I mean, the environment for a big black artist or artists with this genre of music would have been scoffed at, laughed at. But the wildfire effect that it had was incredible. There were all of a sudden movies about breakdancing. Artists were coming up, Cool Mo D and everybody else. It really must have caught everyone by surprise because it was just a way of life.
Well, definitely, we go on the backs and the strength of our ancestors, our greats who was doing what they would call poetry rap.
Yeah.
Before that, you had your scat rap by Ellis Fitzgerald. You had your poetry rap by Gil Scott-Heron, The Last Poets, The Watts Prophets. You had your fun, silly raps like Shirley Ellis with The Name Game, The Clapping Song. We used to, before we even respect to call ourselves black, you used to have a thing called the dozen, where you be snapping on your mama this, your mama that,
Yeah.
and stuff. And many people used to didn't like to be called black. That's when we was brainwashed with our mentality to become Negroes. As we say in Universal Zulu Nation, Negroes mean ones who needs to know the knowledge of his or herself, and to be coloreds and stuff like, what they had over here in South Africa with the apartheid system. We was getting away from that once you got into the knowledge of the civil rights movement and the human rights movement, and you start hearing the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, Minister Malcolm X, and then the Black Panther Party and all the movements that was happening at the time to wake us up. So we come on the strength of that, and when it came around to what we call as, because you could have your nursery school rapping, you could have your country rapping, you had all these different styles of rapping going on, we decided to call it hip-hop, and the movement, the culture, we decided to call it hip-hop.
And the collaborations seemed very seamless. And I'm not meaning to cast aspersions on what's happening now, where collaborations are based on record sales. But the stuff that you did back then together as brothers and sisters, I'm thinking Molly Love right now, was really genuine, wasn't it? People really wanted to work together.
Oh, most definitely. Well, that's what I tried to do when I first was showing people. They say, you supposed to be a rapper. You shouldn't be doing other music. So I went and defied many of the companies, and I follow a lot of what Sly and the Family Stone, the king of soul. I don't say the godfather, so we got to put him back in his rightful status. James Brown and George Parliament Funkadelic Clinton. And I just said I'm going to work with different people to show you, although I'm hip-hop, I could sing, I could get crazy, I could work with funk groups, I could work with African groups, I could work with every group I feel like working with. And that's why I made so many different recordings from land to land, country to country, city to city, around the world with different artists.
To a very large extent, you could it was almost predictable that once you're on stage, the way the audience consumes the music, the sing-alongs and everything, the beats, everything, was almost supernatural to some extent. Was it the newness of the genre, or was it because it was a cultural movement?
Well, it's because we as indigenous so-called black people were ancient Moors or Nubians or Kemites and so forth. We got soul, as James Brown said, and we super bad.
Yeah.
So, it just come to us and we have that feeling to get up and do. And the people, that goes all the way back to the motherland of Africa. If you even look at the Zulu, with one to say something and everybody chant behind it or things like that. So, it's just in our genes.
When the Sugar Hill Gang won that Grammy, there were people who reacted, purists who reacted the same way as in when Bob Marley wrote "I Don't Want to Wait in Vain." It's like, it's watering that stuff down and all that. But I think, in my opinion, it really raised the game a little bit to put hip-hop or rap music in a category where every other music was. You could compete on even ground without being looked at as, it's underground, it's for thugs and that kind of stuff. Am I correct in my assumption?
Well, at first, many of the originators was pissed off with they heard Rapper's Delight came out by the Sugar Hill Gang, but then when you see the wisdom that was behind Sylvia Robinson or Bobby Robinson or Paul Whitley, some of the early greats who started doing the recordings, others are seeing this was another way to start doing the music. I thought it was intelligent because doing that, it has spread the music even further than what we was trying to do with our cassette tapes at the time, because the cassette tapes was like our albums.
Yeah.
That started traveling, from different cities and towns and stuff to catch the eyes of the people and the ears.
It's so true. When you look at how hip-hop rap has progressed over the years, especially when you look at people who remain true to what the music genre really is, it's got staying power. I'm saying this because I don't want us to get into the debate over, hip-hop has changed and now, because it's still there where it started in the first place.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you still got the people who stay strong to the whole hip-hop culture and keeps everything all intact. Then you got other people who just follow rappers or follow rap music. So it's through all hip hop. You know, you got people that be, oh, that ain't hip hop, or this ain't hip hop. I mean, you got to understand, hip hop, rap music is in many different categories. So you could have your slow beats, 98 per minute, and you could have to 160 beats per minute. You know, due to drum and bass or jungle, or due to hip house, or due to electro funk, or the Miami bass, or the Bali Rio funk. So all of this is part of hip hop. So people got to just take it as a whole.
You're taking me somewhere now. We're friends with a DJ called Louis Vega. And every minute he gets to talk about his influences, he mentions you. And this is what you were talking about now. There's hip-hop everywhere, as a matter of fact. You know, most genres of music. I mean, the man tips off his head all the time. He talks about Afrika Bambaataa. He gets very excited about that.
Well, that's my great brother there, and he has the wisdom of knowing how to take the music, he could make funky hip hop beats, then he could jump to the hip house or house music. He could jump into electro and techno, and so he knew how to really flip it and be successful at it. And even bringing us on beautiful music like I am the black star of the how was it? I'm the black star of the gold sun. Black Gold of the Sun by Noel Rican Soul.
It's very pleasing to a very large extent to understand that a guy like George Clinton is still, I mean, Parliament was one of those really rebellious funk bands that were unapologetically black funk. I mean, there was a lot of funk in their trunk,
That's right.
and they're still going. You know, with other music genres, people fade away. And I think that they hold it up simply because those who are alive today who can still work, bring them back into it. I mean, Snoop doing that song with the Stylistics, it was incredible, and it's still happening.
That's right. Well, that's because Uncle George was a mastermind.
Yeah.
What he was trying to build. He took, when he was doing the Parliaments, they was dressing more like the Motown sound and Temptation. And even James Brown had to change after this man. When this group called Sly and the Family Stone came out, it changed the whole black music industry. And I guess that's the way Uncle George and him said, that's the way we got to go, to this funk that James and Sly was doing. And then he made an empire out of it, you know, by the Brides of Funkenstein, Bootsy, Zap, and the JB, Fred Wesley and JBs that he had mixed with him, and taking some of the luminaries of James Brown and adding it to his group. So he made a whole empire out of it.
When James Brown started talking about being paid or getting paid, I'm not talking about the song, the sampling. You know, that also changed the shape of music because people started to understand the meaning of intellectual property. You know, and it raised the level of this music genre to a higher level where people have to be cognizant of using other people's material. That was another turning point in the world of hip hop, wasn't it?
Oh, big time. In the early days of hip hop, many people didn't understand what it was, so many hip hop recording artists was just taken from many of the old records, the old school or true school, as we say, and I'm taking the samples, and other people of the different eras thought it was a new record, but didn't know that came from.
They still do.
Yeah, they didn't know, like Puff Daddy or something that might have came from the Hyatt Players, or somebody took something from Sly, or every rap record took something from James Brown. So that's when they start getting wise in the industry and start paying back these groups. What I used to do, I just put them down as writers and they publishing company. So I never had problems from Manu Dibango or many of the other different groups, and they was enjoying that because you're giving respect back to what was already there.
Yeah, indeed. We're talking to Afrika Bambaataa on Kaya FM 95.9, home of the Afropolitan. In your life personally, when people in an environment like this, there's normally a lot of questions going through the interviewer's mind. And I'm quite sure that there were questions that I wish he had asked me that question. Which question do you wish that I'd ask you?
Well, especially dealing with the question of how people deal with themselves with economics and using their money to give back, to do things for the people and by the people.
Yeah.
So that's a serious question that many of our people don't really talk about.
from this side of the world, we are assimilating still a lot of the hip hop culture ways, and there's no one pure way of describing one genre or one person or one nation. There's always, day and night, black and white, very little gray. One of the things that happened with the West Side, East Side hip hop thing, it did bleed into other areas as well. What were you thinking when that stuff was going down? Because there were curfews in LA. I remember visiting LA and being told last round call, because there was a curfew at that time. How did that make you feel when brothers were going at each other and it was not for play, it was real?
Well, it definitely was hurting. I had to reach out to many and have behind the closed door meetings with many of our brothers and having some sisters there to speak about how we hurting each other in the industry, and how some of them might have forgot the focal point of how to get tricked into hurting each other doing devilish ways. So many times it has worked. That's when they start putting out these videos called Beef, and they call the brothers who sat down, myself or KRS-One or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whoever had an influence to bring people together to sit down and talk and straighten out they type of disagreement with each other, like what we used to have over here in the motherland when we called the elders to sit down and straighten things out.
Yeah. Kaya FM 95.9, home of the Afropolitan. Fast forward to today. Afrika Bambaataa in a studio in Johannesburg. What brings you down?
Well, we come with Sonkoma. I said it right? In Sonkoma Productions. They brought me here to do a documentary called Zulu Journey. And what a journey it was. Very powerful, very spiritual, coming back and feeling the power of the ancestors, just coming back to the motherland. How many of us get to say that we have come back home to Africa, and to travel Zululand, to be among the people, to be with the royal family, even travel with the prince. Could you say the whole prince's whole name? Right, and traveling with the prince and meeting some of his sisters and brothers and Prince Butatalizi, and speaking with them and getting an understanding to overstand with sound right reasoning with each other. It just was a powerful spiritual thing in itself.
Somehow I get the feeling that you felt the same way that Malcolm X felt when he went on his first pilgrimage to Mecca.
Oh, most definitely. When many people get mixed up with that too. They think when Malcolm X went to Mecca, that he found when he seen black, white, brown, yellow, red Muslim, and then they try to make it look like he came back and had confusion with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But Malcolm already knew that because they've been somewhere before with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So people need to keep causing confusion between leaders and thinking that, some of our leaders really hated each other, and some was a papa and son type of incidents and stuff. But we have our good times and our bad times, and we have to take it all together with some love.
Again, 1957, born in the Bronx, obviously black people were experiencing a lot of hurt and pain, and it's unfortunate that from where I'm sitting here in Johannesburg, when I look at the Black Lives Matter campaign and why it came into being, it seems as if there's some kind of regression. Police killing unarmed black males, and the campaign starting. From where I'm sitting, it hurts, because these are the people who are the same skin color as I am, and having gone through the civil rights movement, thinking that things are getting better and better, meanwhile, being taken out at a whim. In the mix of things, with hip-hop being at the forefront of exposing the hardships of black lives, do you feel that there's enough presence in hip-hop to address all that?
Well, it's like many things haven't changed, and with our people, and I'm talking about our people all over the earth, um, we don't take time to study law.
Mm.
People don't understand there was a law in the United States called the Casual Act, where they gave permission to kill black people, and many people don't know that this law might not have never been drawn out, and we could keep marching and yelling civil rights, human rights, and stuff. But if you're not understanding what's going on with your country, understanding the laws that was put in place, and being searchers and researchers, then the thing keeps going over and over and over again. Even calling ourselves black, which is really a modern name.
Mm-hmm.
We are the indigenous of the earth in every part. So, what was you called before 1492, before Columbus came over to a country that already had millions of people there? When we was in Africa, we was also in the Americas. We was in Europa, New Zealand, Australia. So what was your indigenous names that you call yourself? Was you a Nubian, a Cushite, a Theban, a Sumerian, a Moor? So many of our people don't know the history of the last empire that was ruling in the United States before it was the United States, which was the Moorish Empire. And we had other the Hebrew Israelites and other groups that was there. So we got to go back to really search and research to know who we are as a people. What was our indigenous name? Most people use words like God bless you, bless the child who has his own, and don't know that bless is a German word which means blood sacrifice. And the word they use is bliss, which means peace, harmony, and wishing you well, which is still a German word. So what was your ancestors in Africa, in China or India, the ancients of days was they using? So we got to go back and find ourselves and understand why certain things be happening to us when you was the first mama and papa to all people on the earth.
Wow, I'm being schooled. Is young black America willing to go on that journey of self-discovery? Are they going to the sad castles out in Ghana to see how their ancestors were pushed through these little holes in order to be slaves? Is there a willingness from young black America to go through that journey?
Well, you have some who are picking up the torch. What are some of our greats who has been over here and doing the research, like J.A. Rogers, Yusuf Jock Bahanin, who wrote Black Man of the Nile. You have many anthropologists who also been coming to look at certain things that might have happened in Africa. And some there's a book called When Rocks Cried Out by Horace Butler that I think everybody need to pick up, because now it's telling you that many other things that didn't just happen here in Africa, but it also happened in the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
And they even say that the Jerusalem that you think is on one side really was happening over there. And it shows how the ancient comedians, known as Egyptians today, has been all over the earth. And that's why people got to understand that, there was the worship of Osset, who was known as Isis. The ancient comedian history has been all over the earth in many places, the gods and the goddesses. And many took from that, whether it's from Greece to Rome. Alexander, when he came here and started on his colonialization of ancient Kemet, he had to get his spirit and power by worshiping Amun-Ra. Mm-hmm. And many people of our people, we could say entities at the top. When we say our prayers, we say Jehovah, Yahweh, Elohim, Jah, Allah. But what do we end our prayers with? We say Amen, Amen, Amen. But you just left off the Ra or the Re.
I'm still getting schooled. Kaya FM 95.9, a discoverer of an originator of Universal Zulu Nation, Afrika Bambaataa, with us here. On stage, let's talk about what Afrika Bambaataa does on stage. When I think about when I grew up listening to your music in the 80s, where I could listen and dance at the same time, I'm now in serious anticipation of watching you on stage here in South Africa. What can you promise people that follow you, fans?
Well, it depends on what I'm here for. If I'm coming to DJ all you're going to see is DJing. So we don't want nobody. I hate people to just look at you when you DJing and like a wallflower. You know, a DJ has to play for you. So shake that butt, watch yourself. Show me what you can do.
Yeah.
So, dance to the music, as Sly and the Family Stone say. But if I'm coming as a recording artist, then you can expect something to look as crazy as Parliament Funkadelic or Sly and the Family Stone, or sometimes I could come with 5 people, 10 people, 15, 20. Or if I come with a whole band, then it's even more crazier. So I would hope to play the motherland sometime, playing some of that good music with a live band.
That's fantastic. Last words to your South African fans from across the recording artist and the DJ side of things. What would you say to our people who are really, really looking forward? People who wish they were on this chair right now.
Well, I would say the love yourself, the show respect and honors to your ancestors, and respect that we're on this planet with millions and billions of people. And this we disrespect the planet, don't understand what we're doing. The planet is a living entity. And she don't care what race or nationality that we call ourselves, what religion that we call ourselves. When we disrespect the planet, then she sends her wrath. So she sends her tsunamis or earthquakes or tornadoes. She could send locusts and stuff to destroy your food and everything. So, and this is what's going on with our planet today. They've been pushing too much hate. Too much people are just on the net. They don't understand when you're on all these things, Facebooks and all this other stuff. I advise people to read and study law. Don't just go and click, I agree, and you ain't read the contract or you ain't read the agreement. Because once you press I agree, and you go and put all your pictures and all these certain stuff up there, you do not own that no more. It is not yours. So you better be wise in what you do. And if you DJing or recording, read all your contract. Don't just take what your attorney turning your butt over to the law or understanding what a lawyer is. You better read everything yourself and understand it. And if you don't understand it, there's a book called the Black Law Dictionary. Get them, study it, understand words, etymology, and let's free ourselves and let's be ourselves and let's do for self. Each one teach one, feed one, and help one.
Enough said. Afrika Bambaataa,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
very much.
Honor to you.
Fantastic, thank you.